It's time for us to talk about advanced video effects in Premiere Pro. Now, when I say advanced video effects, I don't mean I'm gonna show you some like hidden effects that no one's ever seen before, but I'll show you how to combine effects into more interesting results. Here I have a little video where television is playing, but let's say we wanted the TV to play the film which I edited in this video. If we were to just rescale the movie and put it on the TV, that looks pretty bad. Okay, let's try animating it. I animated the position of the film to track the position of the television. As you can see, it looks horrible. You can try your best to tinker with the positioning, scale, and rotation of the clip. It's never going to match the TV, and that's because of the perspective. In this case, the TV is filmed at an angle, and we're trying to project a flat image onto it, which is not gonna work. What we have to do is match the perspective. In some cases, you do want to use the effect called Basic 3D to do this, but in this particular case, I'm going to use corner pin. So, corner pin, drag it onto the clip. So when you apply the corner pin effect, you'll see 4 anchor points appear in each corner of your video. So what you want to do from here is just match up the anchor points and corners of the TV. And there we go, that's a lot better. But if we play the video, obviously we'll see that the video isn't really matching the TV anymore. So what you want to do here, first of all, activate all the keyframes for each corner. And now move a couple of frames and adjust the corners. Now, if you notice that the performance of the effect is pretty bad, as you can see, I'm pulling on a corner right there, but nothing is really happening. What you can do is disable the clip in the timeline, click on the effect, and you'll still see the 4 corner pins. But the performance is going to be a lot better now. So now let's go frame by frame and animate. Okay, so I have animated a single second. Let's see how it looks now. So this is a lot better than before, but you'll still notice some issues. So first of all, we can clearly see that there is something peeking behind our movie. So to deal with this, let's drop a shadow. Opacity 100%, distance 0, and increase softness. Maybe like 20 here will do. And now I'm just gonna copy paste the effect a couple of times until we can't see the background anymore. Let's play it again. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Another tip for a situation like this, you want to try your best to match the look of the video that you're inserting with the rest of the scene. Also, when playing around with the Lumetri effects, make sure it's the first one in your effects panel. So just grab it and pull it up. So it's applied before everything, even before corner pin. And here's the final result compared to the first thing that we tried. This is miles better. Now, if you want to go for something like this, I wouldn't suggest you do it in Premiere Pro, because in After Effects, there is motion tracking, which can do this exact same thing, but better and faster. So then why am I showing you this? The better you are with your tools, the better job you can do. Maybe you'll be able to utilize this in a very creative way, which I hope you do. Next, I want to show you a very cool application of the mirror effect. I should really buy some different shirts. It looks like I'm wearing the same thing in every single video. If you don't know what the mirror effect is, let's apply it and see. Drag and drop, and nothing happened. Well, that's because we need to change the reflection center. Here it is in the program monitor, this little anchor point. And if we move it, there's another me right there. So yeah, it's mirroring what's on the opposite side of the reflection center. The effect follows the reflection angle. Right now the angle is 0, so it's reflecting this way. Now let's say we wanted to mirror the other side. Well, if we move the anchor point to the other side, this happens. To fix it, we just need to change the reflection angle to reflect this part of the screen. So in this case, let's set the reflection angle to 180, move the anchor point, and there we go. We're now reflecting from this side. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. So let's forget about the mirror effect for a second. I want to show you something. Let's say we wanted to move our guy to the right. Suddenly we have this black box appear. How can we fix that? Well, one way is to duplicate the footage, to flip it horizontally, and then move it so our picture seems extended. But we can replicate this with an adjustment layer, mirror effect, and offset. Let's see how. So first of all, let's make a new adjustment layer, place it on the timeline over the footage. Let's apply the offset effect. Let's position our guy into place, maybe around here. Let's apply the mirror effect. Since we put the subject on the right side, we need to change the reflection angle to 180. And now let's move the reflection center until it matches with this side. And there we go, we achieved the exact same thing as before, but in a single adjustment layer. You can already see how this can be super useful in the case you have multiple clips on your timeline. You can just slap a single adjustment layer and you can apply this effect to all of them. And obviously don't forget to select your adjustment layer, select the offset and the mirror, right click and save preset, name it whatever you like. Magnify plus spherize. Okay, this one might be a little niche, but it's still pretty interesting. Okay, so let's say we wanted to magnify my face using this magnifying glass right here. What we can do is apply the magnify effect onto our footage. Make sure it's somewhere in the center of my face. And let's increase the size so it matches our magnifying glass. Now this is already properly hilarious, but it can look a little better. So now let's apply the spherize effect onto our footage. Let's make sure it's in the middle, increase the size. Oh yeah, peak editing right here, boys. You already know how to animate it. Let's watch this. That's so good. Now something I use literally all the time is animated text. So here we have some random text. Yeah, it's very random, I know. I'll show you 2 ways you can animate this text to make it more interesting. First up, let's search for turbulent displace. Okay, so let's set the amount to 20. Let's say the size to 15, for example. And now here's a secret sauce. Animate the amount. Go ahead like 4 frames, set the amount to 0. Now select both keyframes, right click, hold. And now just copy that over and over again. And here is the result. Super easy, super quick, looks really cool. And the second way you can animate text, let's look for wave warp. Change the wave height to 2, wave width to 500, for example. Wave speed, let's set it to 0.7. And this is the result. Pretty simple, but pretty effective. It definitely makes your text look a little more interesting. Next up, chromatic aberrations. Let's apply the VR chromatic aberrations to our video. The effect by itself is pretty cool. I can definitely see this being used in a dramatic edit or like a music video, but there's an interesting way you can combine these channels. So let's push the reds even further back. And then let's also push the blues back for the same amount. And you can see we get these green base highlights, but we also get like this pinkish purplish aberration in the back. Now let's bring the blues forward, and then let's also bring the greens forward. So we get is like turquoise, bluish green, and we have these really strong red aberrations in the back. So in this way you can be more precise and achieve the exact look you're going for. Next up is glow. Now in Premiere, if you want to make something glow, you can always duplicate the footage, apply some Gaussian blur on top of it, and change the blend mode to screen. And then you can play around with the blurriness and the opacity of this layer, and you can give things this glow. You can even further customize it by going into lumetric color and playing around with the curves. So for example, here, maybe we don't want these darker parts of the image to be glowy, so we can just remove those darker parts by pulling on the curve. Just like this, and then we just have the headlights glowing. Let's delete the top layer because there's an easier way. VR glow. Okay, VR glow. Let's apply it. So this will do the exact same thing as we did before, but it's more convenient for control and for editing. Luma threshold controls which parts of the image in terms of brightness will be affected by the glow. So here, if we lower the Luma threshold, it's gonna cover the whole picture and the whole spectrum of brightness. So we want the threshold to be pretty high since we only want the headlights of the car to be glowing. Glow radius is pretty self-explanatory. If we set it to 0, we can see the mask that it's making around the brighter part of the image. Let's increase the radius a little bit. Brightness, self-explanatory, how bright it's gonna be. Glow saturation just samples the beneath color. So if we increase it, in this case, we can see it samples a lot of blues from the scene. And you can give the glow its own tint. So let's say we wanted this to be yellow for whatever reason. Then the glow saturation controls the saturation of the tint that we applied. Now, another interesting application of the VR glow is with text. So when we have the VR glow on our text, let's decrease the Luma threshold here a little bit. And there we go. Our text is glowing indeed. Track matte key. So what this effect allows us to do is to reveal a clip based on another clip's alpha channel. Let's make some text. In this case, I'll just put car on screen. Let's apply track matte key to our footage. And for matte, let's choose V2 since that's where I put the text. And there we go. We can now see our car within the word car. That's it for today. I'm also planning on making part 2 of this.